Hey, y'all, welcome back to Let's Get Spiritual. I'm your host, Rachel Lauren Stone. Today, I want to talk about mediumship and what mediumship is, what it means to me, how I use it in my life, and how I'm using it to work with clients. So, mediumship, it's a practice rooted in connection, empathy, and spiritual exploration, offering a channel for communication and understanding between the seen and unseen worlds. And it's important to me because it provides a profound connection to the spiritual realm, and it offers support, comfort, validation, and closure. Through mediumship, I can communicate with loved ones who have passed. So I can communicate with my own, I can communicate with other people's, and I receive messages and guidance that bring peace and support and solace to those seeking it. It reassures me that there is more to existence than what meets the eye, so offering a sense of continuity between the physical life. Mediumship for me deepens my own understanding of spirituality and the interconnectedness of all beings, fostering a sense of unity and belonging. Ultimately, mediumship allows me to navigate life's challenges with a greater sense of purpose and perspective, enriching my own journey of self-discovery and personal growth. I love being able to use mediumship as a means to support people in processing their grief by connecting them with their departed loved ones through a unique and comforting experience. And mediumship has just totally changed my life and the way I see and experience the world. It's given me such comfort. It has been an incredible experience to be able to witness and feel the comfort and the healing that it's kind of allowed other people in their own grief journey and healing journey and processing their own grief. So I guess I will start. How did it all start for me? People will ask me that, did you always know? How did you know? When did this start? And when I've taken the time to kind of go back and reflect, I can definitely remember and feel back to when I was a child, and I was a sensitive child. I was very emotional, very in tune with. Now I know that it was being in tune with other people's energies. I didn't really understand or know that then. And I grew up in a super religious household where these things, I don't know if it was necessarily said, but it was my feeling that these types of things were not didn't kind of exist. And there was confusion around that because even as a child, being connected to the animals and nature and all the things that even adults and empaths kind of are drawn to, I didn't understand that was connected to what I understand mediumship and the mediumship practice to be, and connecting with myself and loved ones and all of that. But I do remember having a very specific conversation, or being a witness to a conversation that was taking place at my grandmother's house. And I don't know how old I was. I just remember being young, and that most of my kind of immediate family was there. They were having this discussion about psychics in our family, and I was fascinated. I was like, what? Because we go to church every Sunday and Wednesday, and we follow the Bible and all of these things. And so it was kind of like, wait, hold on, I didn't know that we could believe in this, and wait, what? So anyway, my family was basically saying, oh yeah, your aunt so-and-so, has spent time helping police departments solve crime, and this aunt, predicted blah, blah, blah. And I don't remember all of the specifics, but I just remember it making such an impression that it just stuck with me. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so freaking cool. Like, wow. But I also remember it being talked about in a sense of kind of like we only believe this because of our religion and our beliefs. We only believe this, and we have to believe this because we know this to be true. So I almost felt like it maybe wouldn't have been told, or wouldn't have been believed, or wouldn't have been like accepted, but for, we know that these family members are being honest. Like, they're not telling a lie and they're not being dishonest. So we kind of have to believe it. And so that was my perception of it, that it was like distant. It was close to home because it was family and it was in our family, but at the same time it was like far away because they were only using it, for this particular purpose, and we can't say that they're lying, so we kind of like have to get on board and believe. But yeah, I remember thinking it was crazy and cool and like, wow. And I don't really remember any other conversations or anything else coming up until I played the Ouija board. And I guess I was probably a teenager, and probably, I don't know, maybe even my early 20s. I don't think that I would do that again, but that is part of my story. And I definitely had a couple of experiences that, people can say what they want, but it definitely felt real to me. And I feel like because of my experience that it was a genuine connection for, a handful of things. And then I guess skip on to adulthood. I still had this like weird fascination about like psychics and mediumship and things. But I didn't talk about it. Like I don't think I talked to any friends or family about it. I had used a psychic in my like early mid 20s, and I used her consistently, and I just kept that to myself. Like I didn't share that with anybody, especially being in Mississippi and, still being respectful and mindful of the church and the religious aspect. But yeah, I did. I loved it. I felt like it was a good experience for me. It felt supportive, and I appreciated that experience. And so then I just kind of lost touch with that lady, kind of lost touch with myself. Then the next big thing that kind of like brought me back to mediumship was my grandmother passed away in January 2019. And so we all know, COVID came and all of the things, but I would say my spiritual awakening probably started the end of 2018. So then right after that, my grandmother passed, and I really struggled with her death. I felt guilty because I had not seen her probably as much as I would have liked to have in the last couple of years before she passed. We were extremely close. We were very like soul connected. I don't know how to explain it other than, you call each other and it's like, oh, you must have been thinking about me. I was just about to call you, or your ears must have been burning. I was just talking about you. But yeah, we had this really neat connection, and that was my first experience with like really feeling the emotional pain of, having somebody close to me pass. And I didn't really share that with anybody. I was struggling with that within my own self, and it was really, really hard because I didn't really know how to navigate it because I had not experienced it before, and I just felt so separate from her. I couldn't call her, I couldn't go see her, I couldn't hug her, I couldn't have all of these physical things that you get to experience when the person is still here in this physical world. And it was just really, really difficult emotionally for me. So I don't know how in the hell, it all happens like how it's supposed to, I guess, but randomly, let me stay on track. Okay, so after she passed, shortly after, things started happening, and the lights are flickering, and I don't really remember how I ultimately connected it to her, but it was kind of like a sense of knowing. I lived in a new house with brand new LED lights. The lights shouldn't have been flickering. They were not old bulbs. It started happening so frequently that I would kind of just do this nod to her, okay, hey grandma, I see ya, thanks for stopping by. And I just kind of felt her presence and a closeness to her when this was happening. And then it was happening all the time, in different countries, and when I was traveling, and just, it was frequent. Other things were happening. I was feeling things and experiencing things. Other energetic things. And it just, I just craved connecting to her and moving through some of that grief. And then it was a couple of years, let's see, March 2021, my sister's husband took his own life and died by suicide. And that was kind of the next super impactful death. This was so traumatic for so many people, and particularly my sister. And we had sort of been estranged at this point. But this death just brought us together. And I hate to even, my sister and I have talked about this and talked about how this reconnected us. And so we find it, that it's a gift now, and it's something to be grateful for. But at the time we didn't quite understand. I just felt this overwhelming sense of needing to contact my sister and comfort her and be there for her while she was moving through this. And so that happened in 2021. And then, I'm on my spiritual awakening and spiritual journey through all of this. And so fast forward to the beginning of 2022, I reached out to Lauren Graham, a girl that I knew from Mississippi. We were both living in Florida at the time now. And I had been off social media for 6 years. I was so isolated, so disconnected. I was just trying to kind of find my way and kind of get back and be involved in things and trying to find a spiritual community, because I had kind of only done the work with one mentor. And while that was amazing and incredible, and exactly what I needed at that time, like I did need some more like support, and I wanted to explore more within the wellness space and spirituality. And so Lauren just put me on. She sent me like 10 or 15 women on Instagram that were connected in like the wellness space and within spirituality and mediumship. And it was literally just kind of a trickle down effect of like, oh, I worked with this person and I love this person, and oh, check out these people and like see how you connect and what you think. And I stumbled upon, several mentors, but I started working with Sloan Tate, who's a medium who lived in Miami at the time. She's now in Tennessee, but she was holding a spiritual development circle. And this started, I think we started in like May of 2022, but Sloan had this book, Communications with the Afterlife, and I purchased her book and read the book, and it was so like comforting to me, and just being able to kind of connect things like with my grandmother and with what happened to my sister's husband. And yeah, I just felt called and in alignment to like join this group and this circle. And I wanted to see how I could learn, potentially learn this for me and myself, and then maybe to be able to give back. I would say initially I was like, no, I'm going to keep this all to myself. I don't want to talk about it. I don't know if I want to identify with this. I don't know how people are going to judge me or perceive me. But that's a whole nother probably podcast episode. But yeah, so I worked with Sloan for 6 months initially, and worked with a group, and we really just dove head in on like the practice of mediumship and our intuition and developing, our skills, and working with other women on how to navigate these grief points and to be vulnerable and learn. And it was such a beautiful experience to like feel the support and the love and kindness in this group, and to be able to learn the tools and learn and practice mediumship with these women. And yeah, I'm forever grateful for that opportunity and for that group. And then I have gone on, a women's retreat with Sloan and some of these spiritual women and some of the girls that were in the group. And we've just blossomed as far as like friendships and our businesses and how we, show up. And, so I guess the next thing, and then I'm here, but I guess the next thing to talk about it and to talk about mediumship is, how does it show up for me? Like, how people ask me, well, how does it feel when you communicate to past loved ones? Like, what is it like for you? And for me personally, there are different clairs. There's, clairsentience, clairvoyance, clairaudience, all of these clairs, which I could probably do another podcast on if we want to get into that. But everybody kind of has their own way of connecting. And as I learned and as I practiced, I learned that my probably most in touch clair is clairsentience. And it's just this kind of like inner knowing and feeling of like you just know, there's just these impressions and things that are are given to me in the sense of channeling, loved ones. And I don't really always get clear pictures or names or birth dates or specifics. To me, it's kind of like the connection that I receive is more about how the person feels, and they tune into me. Like I'll feel tingling and buzzing, and kind of like how they felt, if they had some sort of specific like physical thing, I'll be able to like feel and tap into that. I've been able to tap into how people have passed and can kind of feel that within how they experienced that. I will experience like changes in my own energy of like heat, and sometimes I'll sweat, or I can like also sense their personalities and how they were. Like, it's been interesting to have readings, and certain times I'll be like, I'm just really struggling to communicate, and I almost like am having trouble actually communicating even within the reading. And then come to find out, like, the person was paralyzed, or the person was in a coma and they were unable to communicate at the end. And so it's kind of picking up the specifics that are relative to the sitter, to the person that I am reading for. And it's so validating for them, because they understand in the way that I'm communicating, because that's how that was that connection to the person. I've had experiences like where I was reading for a girl, and her mom, which I did not know, I just said, gosh, like I almost feel intoxicated, like I feel wasted, like I'm drunk, like I feel super loopy. And she laughed, and she was like, oh my gosh, my mom was an alcoholic. Like, that is how she would come through. That is exactly how she would show up. So for me, it's more of those kind of channeling opportunities, and that's how they kind of come through for me. Sometimes I do see things, or I'll get glimmers of, something, or like a word will come into my head, and I'll just say it. And we are not always 100% right. Like, I don't ever want anybody to assume that, everything that I say is perfect and spot on. I am human, and I think it's important to relay like the communication aspect of it. It's almost like trying to tune into a radio station. Like, I drop in, I tune in, but sometimes it's fuzzy. Sometimes it's not super clear. And so it's not just this clear, perfect, okay, they said this, and then I say that to the sitter. Sometimes it's me pulling out just words and feelings and things and trying to like link it all together. But it's a very interesting feeling to know, that spirit is present, and that they are communicating, and the messages that they send is so incredible and so healing and supportive. And it like, I'm always just fascinated by the message and what the person that I'm reading for, what their experience is, and how they needed that message and that comfort and that hope from from their loved one. I did learn in my practice. I used to struggle when I was learning and when I was practicing initially with our spiritual development circle. I would be like, I don't know. Like, I just don't know. I don't know if I've got something. And Sloan would be like, yes, you do. You've got it. Like, just say it. And so there was this whole learning progression of Spirit is going to give me like the message that I need, and that I don't need to understand it, and I don't need to attach my ego to it. I just have to say what is coming through, and that is what is supposed to come through. So now I don't hesitate, and I have a confidence in that. And when I'm reading for people now, I'll say that, like, I'm just going to say what's coming through. I need you to only tell me if you can take it, or if you can, if that resonates with you. But I don't waver in the messages and the things that are coming through to me, because I know that it's Spirit led, and it's not me. I'm simply just the vessel. As long as I put my ego aside, then I am allowing Spirit to say and give what they need to. And so that's been an incredible experience and experiences. And I love now having that confidence and being able to see like so many examples. Like when I read now, I think, oh, probably I wouldn't have wanted to say that maybe a couple of years ago, and I'm so glad I did. Or if somebody else, somebody calls back. For example, I had a reading one time, not too long ago, of a girl, and this like picture and kind of like word of mushrooms just kept coming too. And I just said it. I was like, I don't know what this is. I've got no understanding. It makes no sense to me. But like, there's something related to mushrooms. And it was not even in any context of what we were talking about and what the other message was. It literally just came through, and I just had to say it. And of course the girl was like, nope, got no clue. Don't understand that. Can't take it. And then like several weeks later, I found out that she ended up going to her grandmother's house, the grandmother that I was channeling, and the yard was full of mushrooms. And so it was kind of like this aha, moment for her of like, okay, got it. The mushrooms make sense now. But I think, gosh, if I wouldn't have said that, then it would have been less validating. Well, maybe not entirely less validating, but there would have been an even less opportunity to validate that for her. And it was like the grandmother knew that she was going to go see that. And it was just almost like she needed to send that message to her so that when she saw it, she knew, okay, that there's like extreme validation in that reading and how she showed up and the messages that she had. So there's that. But gosh, there's so much more. I mean, there's so many more things that I could say on this topic, and I just love it and love what it's like done for me and my own grief and my own healing and my journey with, my experience of dealing with my own grief and being able to now understand that like our loved ones are still with us. They're not in this other like space and time of like they're so separate and we can't, call on them. Like they're here for us and they love us and they want to support us and they want us to connect to them. And there's something so comforting in knowing that. And I think being able to provide people that and that hope and opportunity to connect and to get messages from them that maybe they didn't, know that was possible, and being able to also like educate and inform people that this is not special to me or to a select few. Like I believe that mediumship is available to everybody. Like we all have access to it. It's kind of like a muscle. If you practice it and if you are doing it, routinely, and if you are kind of in that space and mind of it, then you can connect to it. You don't need me to only connect to your loved ones. Like everybody can access it, and I loved that about it. I love that when I'm talking about it or working with someone. Like, yes, I love the opportunity to channel for them, but they don't necessarily need me. Like, it is a space that everybody can tap into. It's just like intuition. We've all got the intuition. We've all got our own inner knowing and inner guidance. And that is like, I just love that. I love that. So, yeah, so now I identify as an intuitive medium, and I tell people that, and I share with people that. I think everybody is entitled to their own way, of showing up and embracing that. Some people want to hold that close and only want to use it for, their own journey and their own grief. And some people want to use it to work with other people. And I respect everybody's, preference for that. It took me a while to open up, and everybody's got their own journey within that. I would like to say I came out to friends and family really in 2023. I really owned my identity with this, and I understand the gift that's been given, and I want to share it with other people, and I want to talk about it, and I want to normalize it, and I want to help other people if they, need readings or need support in their journey with navigating through the realms of it. So yeah, I am right now about to host my own spiritual development circle, which starts April 4th. We're going to meet twice a month, and it is going to be just an amazing experience. I just want to be able to offer, community and space for women who are curious about mediumship, curious about intuition, kind of learning how to maybe navigate these things so that you don't have to do it on your own. But we're going to start April 4th. You can find the link on my Instagram. It's at Rachel Lauren Stone. You can also check out my website at www.rachellaurenstone.com. But I am here for you. Would love to connect. Would love to have you in our circle if you are feeling called to join and this is something that is of interest to you. And I am still also offering $50 medium readings for a 30-minute session currently. That's still going on, and you can also book that online or through the link on my Instagram. So yeah, let's connect and let's see where mediumship takes us. Okay, y'all, I will see you on the next episode.